So if you want to kind of start off by introducing yourself and kind of telling everybody, maybe a little bit about you.
Yeah, so I'm Hanna Kassis. Nice to meet you. Been in Cleveland for about a decade now. Came in 2014. Originally from Youngstown, Ohio, Northeast Ohio my whole life. I appreciate you having me on. Current owner of Whistle and Keg.
Listen, you guys definitely have to try it out. Check it out. It's a unique bar. You want to kind of talk about why it's so unique?
Well, it's unique because it's the only self-serve beer wall in Cleveland.
Nice.
Yeah. There's some other spots you could pour yourself a drink, but there's nowhere where it's in the actual city limits a full wall.
Yeah, nice. I've been there, and trust me, it's an amazing place and
Appreciate
great atmosphere too.
I try to keep it clean. Clean as a whistle.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's probably not the first time you use that, right?
No, of course not.
All right, so we'll get right into it. Kind of how I start off my street interviews, how I start off my podcast interviews. The first question is, what motivates you?
What motivates me? I guess at the highest levels is my family and the kids that me and my wife don't have yet. We want to start a family, so that's probably number one. Like everything I do, the hustle, the grind, every day is just so that my kids could have a good life.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That motivates me, and then I think just motivating others and helping others is something I love too.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, you struck a chord with me. You struck a chord with me because, that's kind of one thing that motivates me, and it's hard to kind of put into context, right? Like, how does your future family that you don't have motivate you? Because that's something that I talk about a lot. I actually have a wristband on. It's faded, very, very faded. It actually doesn't even have the saying anymore. But this was a LeBron wristband, I promise. And I've been wearing this for, I don't know, years now, probably 10 plus years. And the I promise is, I promise to always be there, for my future, children and family and whatnot. I grew up a unique way, just through, my, life. But that's a promise that I made to myself, and that's why I hold myself accountable, hold myself to a higher standard. And it obviously sounds like you do too, as far as just what motivates you. And I think everybody needs to find something, that motivates them.
Yeah, and if you won't hold yourself to that high standard, nobody will.
Exactly. Exactly. It's one thing they don't teach in school. You don't go to a motivation class, right?
Yeah, it's like, but I don't. What do you need a yacht for, right?
Yeah.
Like, you hustle, you grind so that future generations are comfortable.
Exactly.
Right. Like I don't buy flashy things. I don't. I'm not into that stuff. It's really just having like that safety of knowing my wife and my kids are protected.
Yeah.
And then helping others, really. Like I do a lot of. I'm actually a lawyer. I do a lot of pro bono legal work.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't charge people. Like I'll look at it and I'll say, here's my legal advice, not my legal opinion.
Nice.
Right? You're not my client, but if you do talk to a lawyer, here are the 5 bullet points you should give them. Or I'll just make an adjustment in the contract and let someone. So that's when I first day of law school, they told us like legal services are the most underserved service for people because they can't afford them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's a lot of startups that don't have it. There's a lot of immigrant families that don't have it. A lot of minorities. That don't have it. A lot of tenants get strong-armed by landlords.
Yeah.
Like business and personal. I know two friends or acquaintances who lost their lease because landlords just squeeze them out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's.
So imagine you start your business, you put all your life savings into building out this property, and then boom. Yeah. So a lot of I if someone says they want to start a business, I'm getting a lease. I'll be like, give me the lease, I'll read it for free.
Yeah.
That's just how I give back
awesome.
to people. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good to know. That's very good to know. I think I'm not sure if I'm a landlord myself, but I.
No disrespect to landlords at all. It's business. Right?
Yeah.
It's not personal, but.
No, but it's so true, right? And I've been put in positions where I tell tenants like, hey, listen, you may want to seek legal advice with this.
Yeah.
Because
that's good. That's good. You say that actually.
Hey, you're more than welcome, to do this, but just understand I'm also going to protect myself as well too. So.
And what inspired me was when I was in law school. So I'm licensed, but I don't practice. I just do deals. But when I was in law school, I volunteered in the Veterans Clinic. I went to law school in Chicago. And there I was working on a case where a soldier in uniform in North Dakota was sent to guard missiles in like sub-zero weather, and his nuts actually froze off. He had to be castrated, like literally froze off. And so he made a claim with the government that said, I was serving my duty to the country, and he claimed he tried to get insurance, and then they denied him his claim.
Wow.
I'm thinking, this guy's out. He's out for our country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Whatever he believes in, whether he thinks it's just or not, doesn't matter. He's doing his job. So it came down to what's the definition of on duty. Mm-hmm. They tried to say it was foreign soil. He was in North Dakota, and I'm like, this guy just got totally screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then on Memorial Day and Veterans Day, everyone's like, our soldiers, thank you, but nobody's helping them here at home.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's horrible. And so setting up a legal clinic is like an ultimate life goal of mine.
That's awesome. That's really cool, man. We need more people in the world like you. That's really cool. And I didn't know that. So that's that's really cool.
Well, it was. I saw one of your questions and it said like, what do you want to do in 5 years?
Yeah.
I'm probably behind the track a little bit, but my goal was by 40 to have a legal clinic fully funded with like donors,
nice,
right? And my own money, whatever I could put into it.
Yeah.
Probably won't happen by the time I'm 40. I'll be 37 in a couple weeks, but that it is a goal of mine. Is just people need legal services and no one helps them.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, even though it's unrealistic, right? Even if you get to half that goal, right? Like next year, hey, my goal may be to make $1 million. Hey, I made $500,000. I didn't accomplish my goal, but hey, that's still, highly successful. So I think that's cool. Okay.
And you got to pat yourself on the back even if you do really well. I've had friends who set a goal and then they didn't quite hit that goal, but they were killing it, and they wouldn't pat themselves on the back.
Yeah. I hear you.
You got to just take the wins that you can celebrate the wins that you get.
Yeah. Sometimes you kind of get lost in the you hold yourself to a higher standard, then you look up, you're like, wow, you're in that like 2% of people, with success. But to you, it's like, no, like I didn't hit that goal, right? Like I'm, one of my big goals is to make $20,000 passive a month in real estate. And it's like, why am I not, 50% there yet? But it's like, hey, listen, you were like 20% there.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's just like, no, but I'm not 100% there yet.
You set a humongous goal and you achieve 60% of it. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah,
no, 100%.
It's like the Drake lyric is started from bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
You always got to think of how far you've come.
No, yeah, that's definitely so true. So true. All right, so let's move on to the next question. So would you rather, is it either or, would you rather have $500,000 right now or $1,000 a week for the rest of your life?
So I did the math on that. That'd be $1,000 a week, 500,000. That's about 9.5 years of collecting $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. I don't think the U.S. dollar would be worth that much in the future.
Okay.
So I would take the money now and try to invest it somewhere. Yeah, nice. I just don't think any fiat or government currency. I mean, that's a whole different podcast, right? I think Bitcoin is a very interesting technology, which we could go on and on about. But I don't think the dollar will be worth anything. So no government money will.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know too much about that. But I will say, it's funny too because obviously I ask this question a lot to a lot of different people, from on the podcast to on the street. And it seems to be that entrepreneurs, people who own something, whether it's landlords or business owners, right? They go with the 500,000 because I think they understand, investing it now, how far it can stretch, right? And just maybe there's nothing wrong with it, but like maybe the 9-to-5 person likes the 1,000 because it's just like, okay, well, I know that I'm going to go to this traditional job, and I just have this as a cushion or just as extra income. So it's just funny, and I kind of figured you were going to answer it that way, just because I would honestly, like, I'm definitely a passive guy, but also at the same point in time, like, I take the 500,000 because I know if I invest in real estate, what that monthly passive income looks like.
Especially if you leverage it.
Correct.
So if that 500,000 is 5 to 10% down, you're buying a property.
Yeah.
Call it 10% down. You're buying a $5 million property.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And you're going to generate enough rent to pay off the interest on the remaining 90%. It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a no-brainer. That's really wise because, one, fundamentally, I don't think the dollar has much value in the future, or it's at least going to keep its decline going like it has since the beginning of time, since they created the Fed right before World War I.
Yeah.
dollar has just done this the whole
Yeah.
time.
Oh, yeah.
It's done this in the last 6 months, but now it's going down again.
Yeah.
And then that's one, but second is just investing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cash is king, especially in a recession.
Yeah, you know that's big, and really understand what he's saying too. I mean, it's just so important to understand, like, you know, financial literacy, right? I mean, you know, I make the comment that, like, yeah, you give, you know, 100 people $10,000, you know, or let's just, you know, scale that $100,000, right? And you know, you come back in 10 years and, you know, 90% of them are broke, right? Because it's, again, you know, they're buying, you know, assets, you know, that aren't income producing assets, you know, cars and watches, and I shouldn't say that, because there are some watches obviously that you can buy, you can, you know, you know, it can be, you know, an investment, right? But, you know, overall, right, over the course of time, if you buy a Rolex, right, and you go to a pawn shop, you're not gonna get the same amount that you buy for it.
I'd rent a Rolex for $100 a night. You know, if one of my buddies had one, you could turn it into a revenue.
That's true. That's thinking outside the box.
You could turn it into a revenue generating asset. You know, just don't break it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's why you're an entrepreneur. So, all right. So, what has been your biggest life achievement so far?
I think I would have to say so far it's been, other than potentially starting a family. Me and my wife got married last year, bought a home. That's like, for me, that was like a lifelong goal. Other than outside of that, personally, professionally, it would be starting my first company from a blank sheet of paper to what it is today.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. And is that Whistling Keg, or is
No. So it's a company called Orex.
Okay.
Which is a financing company.
Awesome.
That finances media, digital media, and advertising. So
Okay.
think of a website.
Okay.
Or a smartphone app. You've seen ads on the website or smartphone app?
Yeah.
That's how they generate revenue. It's ad revenue.
Nice.
But they have to wait 30, 60, 90 days to get paid that ad revenue.
Nice.
So my first business I built, started it while I was in law school with my own money. I sold my car and cashed in on my 401k, raised about $19,000. And ultimately we raised $100 million in bank facility and like hedge fund facility.
Wow.
So we had a $100 million line of credit basically to go out and fund these deals. And I exited that, I had a personal exit from that business last March.
Okay.
And it's still running to this day with like the entire team I hired, and the portfolio is like in the low 8 digits, mid 8 digits, depending on the time of the year.
Wow.
So
That's awesome.
it's a very big operation. Yeah. Tons of technology behind the scenes.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're known like really all over America, definitely, and in some parts of the world for just being a funder that really was able to wrap its head around digital media and go out and there's only 2 companies, maybe there's one in Europe out of Germany right now, but it's like us 3 in the global market financing this.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's called Orex.
Awesome. That's all. I mean, that's a lot to unpack, but that is, you know, that's, you know, and hearing those types of stories, right? Like, really, it motivates me, right? You know, because then I just like, okay, like, it's very easy for me to say, like, why am I not doing something like that? But, like, you know, realistically, yeah, like, you know, maybe not from that aspect of like, you know, hey, I'm gonna, you know, open up a finance company, but like, you know, why don't I, you know, do something like that? And I think hopefully too, the people watching and people listening, like, you know, again, you just like, hey, you had an idea, you just did it, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, you kind of want to talk about like, you know, was it a lot of like time to like motivate yourself to do it, or like what kind of, you know, walk me through your mindset of like when you like, hey, I'm gonna do this. How did that kind of go?
Well, I always knew I wanted to work for myself, so I planned on just practicing law right out of law school.
Nice.
So, I was after a constitutional law final. I was reading on Twitter about how hedge fund managers would tweet stocks they're buying, and so I wanted to like write an algorithm that would basically go and buy that stock like the moment a big hedge fund manager tweeted it, and that's like very popular today.
Yeah.
But while I was researching that idea, I came across this article or something that said Khloe Kardashian's Twitter account was worth like $20 million. So I don't know if you remember back on Twitter back in the day, it would say -SP at the end of a tweet, which meant it was sponsored.
Okay, no.
And then there was a website called sponsoredtweets.com where advertisers could pay Khloe Kardashian one time to like do a sponsored tweet. This was like way before it would say sponsored. It was literally -SP at the end of the tweet. So you could only type 137 characters. You had to save 3 for that.
I see. Okay.
At the very end, right?
Nice.
And so I did the research and I found out that she was charging $13,000 a tweet. This was back in 2012, and her account was worth $20 million. So I'm like, she's going to have to be alive for hundreds of years to collect $20 million.
Yeah.
So her account is either super overvalued, but I wanted to set up a company that would give influencers, like whoever, whether you're a celebrity in real life or not, you're an influencer, you have clout.
Yeah, exactly right.
I wanted to set up a business. I set up a business called Sonex, Social Networking Exchange, and that was a way for influencers to sell shares in their Twitter account. They could do it. You could do it with Instagram now, and then every time an advertiser would pay them, whatever percentage they sold in their account would go to the investors.
I see.
And then the rest would go to the influencer.
Okay.
So it would be like
sense.
a split. And then as I was out talking to people, they're like, well, you could do this with websites and apps and digital screens and hotels. And I'm in my head, I'm like, holy shit. Like, sorry. I'm like, holy, like I could do this. I could run with it.
Yeah.
And so I went home and I actually changed the name from Sonex, Social Networking Exchange, to OREX, which stands for Online Ad Revenue Exchange.
Wow.
And that helped me get to market way sooner.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And to this day, we don't fund influencers. So that market still hasn't matured yet.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I see a big opportunity for influencers to really make a lot of money off their accounts.
Yeah.
If Facebook opens up the floodgates for it.
Yeah. Like you said, that's a whole nother podcast, right?
Whole other podcast, yeah.
So
but that's how the first business started. So really in financing media.
That's so cool. And again, it sounds like you figure out a problem. You figured out a problem and you found a solution.
Found a solution,
and,
yeah.
And that's 90% of businesses, right? I mean, like, it's a lot of people try to reinvent the wheel, with things, right? And it's like, hey, listen, like just find a opportunity in the market and just make it a little bit better.
A little bit better, yeah. And it's actually an old business model applied to a new market.
Yeah.
And the other funding companies just didn't understand how to wrap their heads around this. So we actually, right after I stepped down as CEO, we crossed $1 billion in transaction volume.
Wow.
So we financed basically $1 billion worth of media.
Wow.
Since 2017, late 2017.
Wow. That's very impressive.
That's my first baby.
Uh-huh.
But I'm realizing how much more is out there after doing that.
Oh yeah.
Like way more is out there.
That's awesome. That's cool. And I think once you realize, the endless possibilities you're capable of.
Endless, dude.
Anything, absolutely anything. I'm telling you guys, anything is possible. I started all of this just like, you know what? Like, I just want to, I feel like I'm not doing enough. I want to do more, right? I want to I've been doing these motivational videos for so long, but I feel like I'm not doing enough. I feel like I'm not reaching a large enough audience. Let me just try this. And it morphed into this, right? So listen, just go after it and keep going. So, okay. All right. I'm going to move on to the next question. So would you rather have $10,000 right now or spend 12 hours with Warren Buffett?
Buffett.
Okay.
I know that goes against what we just said, like taking, but you got to value it. $12 worth of spending with Buffett is you're gonna get knowledge that would potentially generate way more than 10,000. Yeah. So
exactly.
And I'd only do it if I could eat McDonald's with him.
Okay, all right.
He eats McDonald's 3-4 times a week.
Yes, yes, I know his yes.
And he drinks Coca-Cola.
I was gonna say Coke. I couldn't remember if it was Coke, but I know. I believe Donald Trump's a big Diet Coke guy, so I was kind of getting them mixed up. If I'm not mistaken, it was Diet Coke, but yeah, that's yeah.
And that just goes to show you that diet's important, but he has nothing to worry about, so he's probably very stress free. Probably sleeps like a baby.
True.
So that he's in his 90s eating Coke, McDonald's, drinking Coke every day.
Yeah.
So something to be said about trying to slow down, not stress out, find a way to breathe or meditate or take a deep sigh.
Yeah. Wow. That's so true, because I think we all get caught up in this, we're watching other people, right? And it's like, well, why am I not in that person's position? Well, we don't know, right? We don't know how that person got to that position, right? Okay, that person owns this, or they have this, or they have that, right? And it's we don't know what happened. Honestly, it could have been in an accident and just insurance money paid out. And they were
never, right? It never happens as easily as it looks.
Yeah.
Ever. There's nothing overnight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In very rare instances does that happen.
Yeah.
It's what you see is this little social media part or whatever, and the YouTube, whatever. But below that, there's this whole blood, sweat, and tears for years. The guy, Bebo Bop. He's the NFT artist.
Okay.
He sold it made big news. He sold his NFT for like 38 million, which is outrageous, right? It's digital art, but there's something to be said about that market. But what people don't know is that he created a piece of digital art every day for 14 years.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden it looked like he was this overnight success, right? Wow. So he kind of brought that energy on him, like where he was the pinnacle of that bubble, you know. But he worked his butt off.
Yeah.
You know.
That's hey, you know, there's a a famous audio going around, that's big on TikTok and whatnot, that Deion Sanders says, it's like the light may not be on you, but keep making plays. And one day that light's gonna shine on you, but keep making plays, and one day, and that goes to show, right? Like it's hard when you don't get that recognition, right? And I always say, like, you can tell, who the hardest working people are, when nobody's paying attention, nobody's watching. It's what are they doing, right? Like it's people see this, right? You see the podcast, see the videos go up, but like they're not seeing, what's going on behind the scenes and what I'm doing, and just like you, right? Like they see, Whistling Keg, but like kind of what what we were talking about, like what did it take to get to that point, right? From not only like from a financial standpoint, but like dealing, just some city things and regulations and like just overall just safety things and whatnot. So
compliance, government. Yes. I mean, alcohol is a very heavily regulated industry.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So no, that's awesome. Okay, I'm excited for this one. So the next question is, what would you say your best financial advice to somebody would be?
A couple things. Go with your gut, or don't ignore your gut.
Okay.
Because a lot of people in finance could be too analytical.
Yeah.
But you have to have a common sense approach.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Like, know what you're willing to sacrifice.
Nice.
Know what you're willing to give up.
Mm-hmm.
And don't like the gut and the brain when you're in the womb are the same tissue.
Yeah.
And then they separate. That's why there's all this science behind probiotics and depression and having healthy gut biome. And I truly believe that gut feeling is a brain deep inside you. You almost feel it in your stomach when that's like a cognitive dissonance where you're hearing one thing, like I see these ads on Instagram all the time, guaranteed 30% return. But you're asking, like, how are you doing that without risk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So like I'm I guess a little more savvy than the average maybe viewer, but I see things like that. I give it a gut check. Yeah. So always give things a gut check. Right? Yeah. If someone's telling you to buy a stock and it just sounds too good to be true, go run it through your gut. See how you feel before your analytical brain says yes, this is a good decision versus your gut.
Yeah.
And then I would also say that you have to be long-term thinking.
Yeah.
If you are trying to make money quick, you're going to lose it quick, right? So you have to have a long-term mentality to when you're doing things. You have to let things take their course and play out. Like if you want to budget and you want to save money, don't get frustrated if you don't have a lot of money after a month or two.
Yeah.
But if you do it for 3 years, you'll build up this nice little eggs nest, right?
Yeah.
So it's go with your gut and have patience for the long haul.
Nice. That's so true. And I think a lot of people, the get rich quick, right? Especially with the internet, anybody can say anything, whether it's true or not. But hey, make $5,000 a day. Here's what you have to do. Buy this online course and do it. And don't get me wrong, like some people do strike gold and get lucky and may not make 5,000, but make some money. But a lot of people don't, right? And you definitely have to read through what a lot of people are saying. And exactly. If it's too good to be true, right? Yeah. Like 9 times out of 10 it is. Or there was a reason why that person was successful, and the average, the other 100 people that followed them weren't, right? Like there was maybe a model that they were able to, model, and just now the market is crowded. Therefore, like not a lot of people, can mimic that model.
If I'm seeing an ad on Instagram, it's too late.
Correct. Right. Exactly.
Like if you're trying to, if you're sending me an ad on Instagram for something like, invest in this e-commerce store and we do all the management for you and we're just going to pay you. It's like, well, how, the more that becomes available, the lower the price or returns. So, and then I would say just save. Yeah. Saving is huge. Not a lot of people save. And I think the statistic is like 70% of Americans can't survive a $400 cash expense or something.
Oh yeah.
And if you save, I would save in things that over time go up.
Yeah.
So save a little cash for an emergency, but if you could just take something off the top, like let's just say 5% of your paycheck goes toward, if you have credit card debt, trying to pay down credit card debt when saving.
Yeah.
And then 5% you put it into, like safe stocks, like call it Procter and Gamble stock, which in the long run, most good stocks and most big names in the long run go up.
Yeah.
So just having exposure to something other than cash.
Yeah.
So you save, but then you also don't want to save in dollars because, like we said earlier, the dollar is just eroding.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you want to put it somewhere, and it's a joke to put it in like a CD because you're getting 2%. Like rates went up, and banks aren't paying anyone extra money.
Exactly.
In classic bank fashion. You know? So
100%.
So it's really just go with your gut, save and save for the long haul.
Yeah.
Be long term thinking.
Yeah, no, that's good. And I talk about level of pain a lot, especially obviously real estate. Real estate's a roller coaster. With a lot of, entrepreneurial stuff, it's a roller coaster, right? And I always kind of talk about, what is your level of pain? Because I'm not in the, restaurant or bar industry, but I know that would be a tough level of pain for me because it's just left, right, up and down and this and that, and weather, right, plays a factor in today. We're expecting a huge day. We spent a lot of money in the patio, and all of a sudden, boom, it's raining.
That was St. Patty's Day. You got it, We did. It was a good St. Patty's Day, but if the weather was nice, it would have been way better.
Exactly.
And every bar owner is saying that.
Exactly, right? Exactly. So, but I talk about that a lot. So it's kind of, funny that you touch on that. And whatnot. So, okay. All right. So I'm going to move on. So would you rather have Cavs floor seats for an entire year or be on the sidelines for a Cleveland Browns Super Bowl?
I'd say Cavs.
Okay.
It's just, there's nothing like being courtside. There really is. And I've been fortunate enough to do it a couple times. Just freebies here and there,
Nice.
When you see those basketball players, like your eyes are like at their knee, or like your thigh. They're giants.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool to see. The reason I like basketball more than anything, it's fast paced, but the face, you can see the face. Like in football, you can't see the face.
Exactly, right.
So like a lot of times when the Cavs are coming back on a team, teams like all cocky coming into the third and into the fourth, and then the Cavs come back, and then like right when they go on a run, you could see it in their face. Yeah. Like the tide's turning. So I like basketball because there's a psychological component where you could tell if they're, oh, well, shit, what's happening?
Yeah, exactly.
So I just love watching the Cavs.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I know. Like some big Cavs guys. Funny that you mentioned the, how tall the players are. Yesterday I was able to, was it yesterday?
I saw that. I saw that on Instagram.
Yeah, so Julius Randle, he was, on East 4th Street. I'm like,
Would you come up to his, like...
Yeah, I know, right? I know. And everybody's been making fun of me. They're like, it looks like you're grabbing his chin. I'm like, this is the highest I can reach. I just get barely his chin. So it looks like I'm, grabbing his chin. But yeah, no, and, I haven't been fortunate enough to, sit, courtside yet. But it's, I always kind of... whenever I go to a Cavs game or any sort of game, right, I use that as motivation for myself. I say, okay, why can't I sit down there? Like what is prohibiting me, from sitting down there? And you could really dumb it down to like, okay, what do I have to do, today, the next hour, the next 15 minutes in order to like put myself in a position to, afford, Cavs floor seats. Right. I mean, I know how much they cost, right? So it's like the average person is like, oh my God, I would never spend that, right? It's like, well, you never spend that because like, just again, obviously you don't make that sort of money, therefore it's an unrealistic thing. But like realistically, like whenever you go to any, NBA game, regardless of what's happening in the stadium, the floor seats are always, full, right?
Right.
So yeah, no, that's awesome. And yeah, listen, if you ever, somebody cancels on you, don't be afraid to reach out to me. I'm definitely always game for that. But I think personally, I would probably take the floor seats as well.
Take the floor seats, yeah. I just wouldn't want to be there on the sideline for the loss.
Yeah, true. No, very true.
I don't want to risk it.
Yeah,
that'd be such a bad vibe.
Very true. Because hey, Cleveland sports in general never let us down as fans, right? So that would never happen, right? So
I wouldn't want to take that chance, as fun as it would be.
Yeah, I hear you. No, I hear you. But even too, like also look at like the bigger investment of like what Cavs floor seats give you. I mean, like who do you think you're rubbing elbows with too? I mean, it's and again, it's not to like say like, okay, on floor seats you're nobody, but like in like reality, right? Like you are, probably interacting with some people who, maybe have a different mindset than the average person, right? They've had, obviously probably some success in their life. I mean, obviously calf seats, aren't free. And if they, even if you get them at a discount, right, you probably know somebody, or had to, do something in order to put yourself in a position to, in order to receive those. So I always kind of talk about that, as well as we sometimes put things on a pedestal. But like, honestly, what's stopping you from like, I don't know, going from a Cavs playoff game to, floor seats or in a suite to, flying to Boston, and watching, a Stanley Cup the next day, in that, right? It's just like, again, the only thing that stops you is like a mindset, right? Like you can dumb it down to like, well, I got work and this and kids and blah, blah, blah. But like, again, it's just a mindset from doing that. So, yeah, I would definitely choose floor seats myself. All right. So I know you kind of touched on it, about your 5-year goal, but if you want to kind of, talk about a little bit more and kind of maybe, go maybe just a little bit more in depth, about that 5-year goal.
Yeah, I mean, so I think at some point it would be just to have a legal clinic that that helps disenfranchised in any way, shape, or form. Whether you're a vet, whether you're an immigrant tenant, whether you're a startup, right? Someone who is just has a legal issue and just needs some advice. Somewhere they could just walk in.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure Cleveland has one. I haven't really done the research on it, but I worked in a clinic in law school, and I just feel like there's ways that it could be more efficient.
Yeah.
So that's just, I don't know. It's something that's always been in the back of my mind, and I don't have the resources to do it now. But that would be like an ultimate, like life achievement if I was able to do that.
That's awesome.
I think 5 years is a little too early, probably.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
But maybe. It depends on how much time I could,
Exactly. No, I mean, I'm, kind of there. Like, hockey. Hockey's my passion, right? I love hockey.
Oh, do you?
I didn't know big hockey guy. Played in college, and
oh, no way.
still play to this day. And I'll coach every Saturday, Sunday in the area. Little, real little guys. But like, my passion is like to somehow, like, I don't know if it's like have a hockey startup where I can literally just bring kids in, who don't have those opportunities, and kind of answer those misconceptions of like, hey, it costs $10,000 to play hockey. Well, it doesn't, right? Like, there's so many different things that are, offered, through different programs and scholarships and different things like that, and also too, like, you don't really start traveling until a certain age, and there's also in-house. So that's something that I would absolutely love to do. So I understand the passion behind it. And and that's kind of like, I may not make money from it, but sometimes you have to find those passion projects.
It's not about money.
Exactly.
It's not,
right. Exactly. But like in order to make that happen, unfortunately, you have to have money.
Yeah. It's a means to an end.
Correct.
Right.
100%.
So having money so that you could free up your time to pursue something of purpose or passion is different than wanting to have money for floor seats.
Exactly, right.
Or a yacht.
Exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly.
My parents are immigrant family. We grew up middle class in Youngstown, really small town. And I saw an opportunity, like I saw how my parents busted their butts as immigrants, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure me and my sister had a good life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's in my opinion, you use money as a means to an end to live the life you want versus it's about freedom, right? Because it's like the 4 currencies that you could spend. It's the acronym TEAM: time, energy, attention, and money. Those are. It's not the currencies aren't dollar versus Bitcoin versus the euro. It's I have time I can spend. I have energy.
Exactly.
I have attention, and I have money. How do you spend that? Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. And a lot of times, the attention and the energy are in the same. They're almost always one and the same. Yeah. Unless you're working out and you just want to disconnect. Yeah. That's where you're spending your physical energy. Yeah. But if you're dwelling on something that someone slighted you, right, and you're just like, I can't believe they said that. Yeah. It's like that's energy and attention, and it's eating up your time because you can't focus on something else. You're losing 3 out of the 4. Wow. Versus just roll off your shoulders and readjusting and focusing on this is where I want to focus my attention. Wow. This is where I want to focus my energy, and then the more you could spend on time, energy, and attention, ultimately the less you'll have to be dependent on the money. Yeah. Right. Wow. So my goal is to just have like one thing I definitely want to say, a message I want to get out is there's a big misconception about time. They say there's two quotes that are just total BS. Time is equal to money. It's not. Because you could get more money. You could go get a job and you could do something. You could have a rental that pays you. You don't get back your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you don't get extra time. But you could buy it back. That's the second thing is they say you can't buy time. Yeah, you can. Look at ChatGPT. If you automate stuff in your life, or if you hire a VA virtual assistant for $4 an hour on Upwork.com, and you now don't have to spend the time doing that. See, so now you're taking away from money, but you're giving yourself more time. Which is, in my opinion, is more valuable. So. Two big misconceptions. Time is equal to money. It's not. Time is way more valuable. And you can't buy time. You can't. I can't buy more time in my life. But I could buy more time today by automating something. And then tomorrow I don't have to do it. Right.
So true. No, I mean, you hit so many, just really, really, really good points. Especially, I talk about time and freedom, right? I talk about that a lot, and that's
a goal, right? I mean,
100%.
Working sucks. It's like, why do we do this? Think about it at a fundamental level. Why do we work?
To get time.
Deep down, I'm like, I just want to live in the Costa Rican jungle, not worry about money. Just, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? If it's not to take care of your family, what's the point? I just don't. I can't wrap my head around it.
I agree, and I talk about, like I said, my big goal is 20,000 passive, but I don't look at it from what does 20,000 get me, right? Like, okay, how many cars can I buy? What
it gets you is your time.
Exactly.
You don't have to do anything.
Exactly. That's the ultimate.
You could write a book. You could start a legal clinic. You could pursue whatever you want to pursue with your time.
I mean,
you could do nothing. Just sit around
exactly.
And read,
exactly. Just hey, I my big, I always kind of say like the ultimate flex is like just going to the airport and saying, hey, when's the next flight leaving? All right, I've just book me a flight there. I'll figure it out as I go. And just having that sort of life. That like just the average person can't think of, and it's like. I take a step back. It's like, why can't I give myself that life? Why can't I provide that life for my, future family? And
how old are you?
Turning 34 actually next month.
Oh, cool. So, what day?
May 11th.
I'm May 9th.
Oh, nice. I may have to do something to.
That's awesome, dude.
Have to do
it's
something.
A great time of year.
Yeah, it is. It is. Not so much for my allergies, but it is a good time of the year.
That's
time
cool.
Of the year. But yeah, it's just and. Having that, like, number one, having that mindset, right? Like I've said it before, and I firmly believe, like, at some point, do I think, I can make $1 million a month? Of course. I personally believe that. Is that true?
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know. Does anybody else believe me? I don't care. I believe that.
Play
right?
Play the video in your head.
Yeah.
Like close your eyes and literally imagine logging into your bank account and seeing deposits in there that equal $1 million.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like go through like what Michael Phelps did. Every time before he swam, he played the video of his whole entire meet.
Yeah.
He would play the video in the locker room of walking out to the water.
Yeah.
Hearing the gun or whistle, jumping in.
Yeah.
Down, back, whatever it is. And then he would play the video after he got out of the water. He was chilling, waiting.
Yeah.
He'd play the video of when he'd go on stage, right?
Yeah.
Like play the video in your head, in your mind.
Oh yeah. It's
huge.
so
it's
true.
Real powerful.
And that's the thing too. Like, and I stress this so much to so many people. Like, and again, like whatever, people may be laughing about that, which is totally fine. But like, at the end of the day, if you don't believe it, right? Like, it'll never happen. And I use this like analogy of like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to measure this, in some sort of like, scale. But like, realistically, like everywhere I honestly go, I firmly believe I'm the hardest working person in the room, right? Like, or in the building, whether that's true, whether that's not, right? Like, how do you manage that, right? Because you could look at somebody and say, hey, listen, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I go to work,
I hate when people do that.
9 to 5, whatever, do this, do that, but like, and then here's the thing though, how do you measure success, right? Because like success can be measured in so many different avenues, from like a monetary aspect, from like I think it's pure happiness. That's how I measure success, right? Like generally as people, like, are you happy with your life, right? Like if you are, a multi-millionaire, right? Like you said, you have a boat, you have a yacht, you have all this stuff.
Yeah, if you're not happy, what's
materialistic
the point?
Things, exactly, right? Like, and you're just miserable with everything that's in your life. It's like, what's the point? Where like, yeah, somebody who, I forget who said it, but somebody who makes $30,000 a year, drives a 15-year-old car, and they're absolutely loving life, because they're just genuinely happy with their job and what they're able to accomplish, and their kids and their family and their wife and husband or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be, it can be obviously any sex or gender, but yeah, from like that aspect, like how do you measure happiness? And for me, I measure happiness with like literally when I wake up, am I excited to wake up? Am I influencing other people's lives? Am I making an impact, in other people's lives? And again, that's kind of like the whole video concept of like, how many people am I impacting? How many lives am I able to change, from hopefully watching these videos? And that's how I measure success myself.
That's great.
So yeah, it's just a matter of like, and we all measure success differently, right? Like sometimes it's like, hey, listen, I'm gonna do something to get back at somebody, and obviously as long as it's not like a physical thing, but yeah, like success to somebody may be like, okay, I can afford a car that everybody said I couldn't afford, really. Maybe, and that's fine. Like there's no really like right or wrong way to measure success, but that's just something that I like to talk about a lot is measuring success on your level, and success to me is having time freedom.
That's why it's like you compete with yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
So my godsons, my first cousins, they're my uncle's boys.
Mm-hmm.
They're senior and freshman in high school, and they're part of a new powerlifting league. So powerlifting is the fastest growing high school sport. I didn't know this. Like
I didn't know
everywhere.
that either. Wow.
And you know why it's so great? Like everyone's doing it. Like jocks are doing it. The geeks are doing it. Everyone's doing it, right? Every clique is doing powerlifting. You know why? Because it's a competition with yourself. Yeah. It doesn't matter who else showed up that day. What matters is that you PR.
Yeah, exactly.
It's what matters.
Yeah,
just PR.
Exactly.
So that's how it is, I think, in life. If your measuring stick is money, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be weary about with that energy. If someone is so money driven,
correct.
Like I don't want to do a deal with someone that is down to the penny trying to squeeze me for all they got.
Yeah.
They need to see the value, and they need to have a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
And if you do use money as your bellwether measuring stick, make it sure it's with yourself, right? Like I want my balance sheet, or I want my bank account to grow by X.
Yeah.
Don't share that information with people, because someone might be struggling trying to get there, and then when you're sharing that with them, all of a sudden you're demeaning. Yeah. And I don't like sharing that information. I don't like when people fish and try to find that information about me.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So just measure it against yourself. But there's a lot of people out there that try to measure it with others, and I steer clear of those people.
Understandable. No, definitely understandable. Okay. All right. So, what life advice would you give your younger self, or anyone who's younger watching?
I would say, imagine your future self.
Okay. Nice.
How do you see yourself when you're 40?
Nice. That's
deep.
That's a deep one.
Like be long-term minded, but there's going to come a time where you ultimately have this vision of yourself, and you got to work backwards from that. Yeah. And to get there, you have to think long-term. By default. Nice. Yeah, and then also, younger self. I'm revealing something about as a Taurus, right? And I'm from the Eastern Mediterranean, so I could come at people. Yeah. It would be less reactive. Yeah. Always be cool, right? Yeah. Like in my younger years, if I don't like something, I would say it, right? Yeah. Now it's like, what's the point? Yeah. Right? So be long-term thinking and be less reactive. If you find yourself reactive, chances are it's because you're upset with something with yourself. Yeah. So just be less reactive, and you'll get much further in a much simpler manner. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I mean, it's really awesome that you bring that up too, because I think we all can, right? Like everybody just snaps at the littlest thing. But yeah, look at and I road rage. Like road rage shootings are up like a ton. Like I used to always honk at people. Dude, I don't do that anymore. I'm like, all right, you cut me off, cool. Yeah, like, exactly, right. Yeah. What's the point? Plus, I don't want to get shot at. Yeah, exactly. You don't realize, how dangerous it could be out there. 100%. Oh man, I forget the book that I listened to. I can't claim to say I read the book, but I listened to a lot of I appreciate that, because people say, oh, I read this book, and it's like, did you really read it?
I'm listening to David Goggins right now, his second book, and I'm really excited for this one. But I forget the name of the book, but it really kind of talked about like channeling that negative energy into and understanding like why somebody did that. Like, why did that person cut you off? Did they maybe they're cutting you off because their mother is on her deathbed and they need to get there quicker, right? Like, or
That's
you
like
know,
being
this
mindful
person-
of like the bad waiter or waitress. Like
correct,
you know, you just don't know.
You don't.
You just don't.
You don't. And yeah, like honestly, like I used to say things like, you know, of course you hate, you know, paying, you know, water bills or anything like that. And it's like, you know, hey, listen, like you don't have to be so negative to me. And it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm gonna hang up the phone, right? And I'm gonna go about my day, and they're gonna go about theirs. And you know, maybe there's something going on at home, or maybe you know, again, like they just like being a negative person. But at the end of the day, like that, you know, interaction is gonna stop. You know, once I hang up the phone, and whatever you know I felt about that, just let it go, because that person is not losing sleep over the fact that I'm still upset about our phone call yesterday, and I felt that person was rude to me.
It's like what Dr. Wayne Dyer used to say: when a thought jumps in your head that you don't like, you just say "not for me," and then imagine like you're swiping it out of your brain. You know,
that's so powerful.
Because remember, time, energy, attention, money. Like you don't want to waste time, energy, and attention on the dumbest little things.
Exactly.
No. Easier said than done.
True.
We're all guilty of still getting.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, I'm still holding the grudge that you know, we were running a little behind today. Just kidding. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, and also I look at it like, how is this going to get me closer to my goal, right? Like, how is me being upset about this literally going to get me closer to my goal?
It'll stop you.
Yeah, that's it, right? Because again, like that person probably doesn't care, you know, and most importantly too, like I like that, the time, energy, money, and goal. You know, time, energy.
Time, energy, attention.
Yeah, attention, and money. But
and that's like the founder of Blackstone. It's the world's largest private equity company, like asset manager in the world. I read the CEO's book, Founder and CEOs. It's phenomenal book. Very motivating. And he basically says that doing good things or bad things, and doing big things or small things take the same amount of energy.
Yeah.
So you may as well focus on big, good things.
Yeah.
Like if you want to plot against somebody who slighted you and get them back, you're going to spend as much time and mental energy as you would be setting up your next company or trying to get that next residual income stream.
Wow.
Like just focus on the big, good things.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing advice?
Yeah, I mean, that's such an amazing concept, honestly.
You spend the same amount of time. You may as well spend it wisely.
Wow, wow, that's such a good concept. And you know, kind of, and I touch on not so much that, but I touch on like, you know, we all have like multi-billion dollar ideas in our head, you know, just the difference is, you know, people execute them, right? And you know, I'm sure somebody literally thought of the same exact concept of Facebook, you know, but it's just allegedly Mark Zuckerberg was the first one to, you know, come up. But again, it goes to show, right? Like, you know, action is everything.
Right.
I mean, it just, that's what it is, right? And if you're not an actionable person, and you know, I don't know his full entire life story, you know, outside of the Social Network movie, but like I gotta think he was part of things that failed, you know. I mean, again, I'm not saying what I'm doing now is a huge success, but like I was, what was it, Amway, right? I tried Amway. I started a clothing company. What else? I tried to break the Guinness World Record for the longest, you know, hockey game ever played, right? You know, just a multitude of other things. And like, you know, I would constitute those things as failures, right? But like, you know, here I am now doing this, right? Like this is probably like my 7th or 8th.
Yeah, failures are great.
Exactly.
I know
exactly.
It really is. Like, it really is cliche to say you learn from your failures, but you really, if you're not learning from your failures, you're failing yourself.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like you could, because the hardest part of doing something is having the knowledge of what not to do. Like I started my first financing company. I did not know nearly what I know about setting up a fund and raising capital from investors. I had a partner who was an ex-partner at Goldman Sachs.
Wow.
So I kind of just followed their lead and I learned a lot from them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there were probably some things that I could have done better for myself personally, but those, I don't chalk those up to failure. I chalk that up to, now I could take everything I learned, not to say that my first business was a failure, but there were some things where in hindsight, I'm like, in hindsight, why didn't I do that?
Yeah.
But hindsight's 20/20.
Exactly.
But now I take that and now I have knowledge of what not to do.
Exactly. 100%.
That's why it's like if your family is very successful in a certain industry, hospitality, restaurateurs, whatever the case may be, even if you start with your own money, you have knowledge from other people in your family who've done stuff.
Yeah.
To of what not to do.
Exactly.
And that's a very valuable
Exactly.
asset.
Exactly.
Very valuable asset. So failures, all it is gaining knowledge of what not to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
So true. And you know, the Abraham Lincoln, you know, his like road to the White House is like so empowering because like it's, you know, and I talk about it a lot and I really need to like dive deeper into it, but like it's like, you know, ran for mayor, lost, ran for mayor, lost, ran for mayor.
Yeah, didn't give a crap.
And then
Just
boom,
kept
was
going.
mayor, right? Like, you know, ran for Senate, like lost, ran for Senate, lost, like, it, you know, came back, like ran for mayor, like it's just, and granted, that's not exactly how it went, but it just, it's like 40 different just setbacks. You look at Walt Disney, right? I mean, you know, you look at just, I mean, you know, I joke around, but like, look at the SpongeBob pitch, right? Like somebody had to go to somebody and be like, hey, listen, like I have an idea for a talking sponge to, you know, talk to a starfish, you know, and they have a squirrel, you know, who can breathe who can't breathe underwater. So
fantastic.
Like, but again, that person's just like, you know what, like this is my idea and I'm just going to continue to go until, because I'm sure they're like, hey, what if you modified it a little bit? Or what if you did this? What if you did that? It's like, no, this is my idea. I'm going to run with it. And it's like, just go through life like that. And you know, and I know we kind of talked about it before, but like we're in such a revolution right now where like people who are on YouTube or social media or, you know, just have some sort of, you know, influencer business or just anything, right, are making like doctor and lawyer money. Like 20 years ago, that like to make doctor and lawyer money, you had to be a doctor or a lawyer, right? Like now it's like, hey, you just, I mean, look at Mr. Beast, right? Like, is it like, can I argue and say like everything that Mr. Beast is doing, like I could arguably do? I mean, like the thing is, it's not like, you know, okay, he, you know, ran a 4-minute mile, right? Like like, no, like okay, hey, we're gonna, you know, run a mile in clown shoes, right? And it's just like getting that mindset of like, hey, listen, like if he can do it, why can't I do it? But again, it's hard to, very easy to say, like, you know, I use the concept of, okay, I'm gonna wake up a millionaire tomorrow, right? Like, all right, that's great to say, but like, what actionable steps are you taking in order to do that? You know, and that's kind of why I'm focusing a lot on this, like, you know, influence stuff. And, you know, I don't really so much as a monetary thing, but, you know, how can I, you know, impact, you know, as many people as possible? And I'm just excited for the journey. You know, I think a lot of people don't focus on the journey, they focus on the results.
Yeah, enjoy the ride.
That's it. You know, I'm focused on the journey, right? I don't necessarily break it down to, okay, like how do I make, you know, $1,000 today? It's like, hey, listen, like, you know, how can I make these videos better? You know, how can
your content's great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And you know, also, how can I be more unique, right? Like, how can I be more unique? And again, it's obviously once it's successful, it's going to be duplicated, which is fine, you know. And also, too, like, I'm okay with that, right? Like, if somebody duplicates it, like, goes out there and literally asks the same exact questions, like, all right, you know, what am I doing? I don't want copyright infringement. Like, you know, I take that as, you know, I'm doing something right, you know. But it's figuring out what you like to do, and just honestly just going after it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but all right, I rambled enough for today. Sorry about that. But anything else you want to kind of share or leave, you know, leave the audience with? I definitely, you know, if you're okay with, you know, sharing your, you know, socials and everything like that.
Yeah, I actually froze my personal Instagram up until recently.
Okay.
It's good to just take a break. It was almost 2 years. It's awesome.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So our Instagram for Whistles, whistle.cle.
Yeah.
And then my personal is just HM Kassis, Kassis.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I'm not really on it, but
yeah, hey, no worries. And if anybody wants to, connect with you, but yeah, Whistle CLE, definitely check them out. And I will say, I want to commend you guys because I don't really follow too many, I guess like, restaurant bar accounts, but your guys, I love your content, because it's different, it's unique.
Yeah.
Because it's not always like centered on just specifically like, here's our menu. It's like,
it's a lot of bars are like, here are the drink specials, right? I think we have to just do what's expected on Instagram and not just be a content creator.
Yes.
So a lot of we try to do really cool reels.
Yeah.
And memes. I do all the memes.
Yeah.
So I think we had a conversation about that. I absolutely love memes. So it's I did stand-up comedy at one point in my life.
Wow.
I won the talent show in high school.
Wow.
But then I bombed the last couple times I tried it, and I'm just like, I don't put enough thought into it. And it takes stand-up comedians. It is a very courageous, career because they risk it all every time they go on stage.
Yes.
So I just love memes. I follow all the big meme accounts.
Yeah.
I actually got a meme. I'll show it to you offline, but I had a meme that got approved by Shithead Steve. They have like 7 million followers, and they said that congratulations, you got to verify that this is yours.
Yeah.
I submitted it in June of 2020.
Okay.
And I got the email like a month ago.
Nice.
I took a screenshot of it, but I'm like, they're not going to post this.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just good to say like, I created a meme that was like worthy of that type of account.
Yeah.
You know, because they're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have,
Trash Can Paul. I love that one.
I follow a lot of them, but not specifically that one. But it's funny how you were kind of talking about like, it's
Fake News Network is my favorite meme account.
Okay.
It's just so satirical, man. It's
okay.
it's-
I'll have to check that one out.
Fake. That's a company out of New York called Doing Things Media.
Okay.
They own Trash Can Paul, Shithead Steve,
Okay.
Fake News Network,
Nice.
Dr. Greyfang.
Okay.
So I think collectively they have about 40 million
Nice.
followers total.
Nice.
So that's like serious reach.
Okay.
You know, like,
Nice. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. That's
they
huge.
built an empire on memes.
Mhm.
You know.
Well, and I think too, people, I'm still obviously very, very green to this, but like you build that following, and like you don't understand what you can do with that, from affiliate marketing, aspect to like just building a business around that, and in sub businesses. I think Mr. Beast did the perfect example of like, okay, he has Mr. Beast, but then he has Mr. Beast, Espanol, and he's got Mr. Beast, reactions, and Mr.
Just expand, yeah.
Exactly, so you take something, but it's funny how you kind of say like, manifestation, and like, I really believe like, the people who are movers and shakers doing things, right, like, eventually will, link up or, be in the same room. So I was actually, I can't make this up, I'd have to find the receipt for it, but Kent State's funniest student back in 2010. Believe it or not,
I was Girard High School's funniest student in 2003.
Okay, all right.
I was a junior.
I
And
like
then senior year, I took second place because I pre-gamed it a little bit and I got I forgot my.
I know one time I went and I did it and I like said like the line, right, that like my like whatever line, my punch line like before, and like nobody caught it, right, and but I like and I was like, oh my god, I gotta like ad lib it. So then I just like ad libbed it and like somehow I saved it. But yeah, it's just one of those things
Your
where
heart's like boom, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I mean I haven't done it in a while. But it was cool. I moved out. That's kind of why I moved out to Vegas. Not so much just to be a stand-up comedian, but I was just like, hey, I feel like I have some sort of unique talent. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's specifically comedy, but like maybe it's just like this, energy to want to do more. And like I feel like I'm not so much trapped. Trapped is the wrong word in Cleveland, but like I feel like there's more for me out there. Let me see what that is. Obviously full circle. I came back to Cleveland, but I think I came back to Cleveland with a unique perspective, a unique knowledge, of just like what is out there, and it just kind of taught me like, I'm, grew up, both parents go to work and come home, you have dinner, right? And you only go on vacation when you submit, your vacation time, it gets approved, by your job and different things like that. So like people are coming out to Vegas and they're like staying in these hotels, they're like $300-400 a night for like, 10 days at a time. And I'm like, wow, like you must have a lot of vacation time and like have a lot of money saved up. It's like, I own my own business, or I retired, or like I sold a company, or I did something like that. That's kind of what got my mind thinking like, wait a minute, maybe there's a different way to do this. So like doing a podcast at 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, as a kid in high school, I would never probably imagined that, right?
I would just say, not that you asked, but my advice is, given where you're at, keep building your audience, because the founder of Angel List,
Mm-hmm.
his name is Naval Ravikant.
Mm-hmm.
He did an interview with Joe Rogan, which I listened to. It's like a 3-hour interview, but it is so profound. I think he's one of the most forward thinkers of our time, and he says that in this economy,
Mm-hmm.
there's 3 ways to get leverage. That's have an audience,
Mm-hmm.
build technology, like be a coder, because a coder or software developer basically creates stuff out of thin air.
Yeah.
Right? And you can automate a lot of stuff, and you can scale a lot of stuff.
True.
Or have capital that you can leverage.
Yeah.
So it's having one of 3 or all 3 things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like kind of with the team, they come hand in hand. If you build your audience big enough, you're going to get the capital.
True.
Right?
Very true.
Right? So you might not know anything about coding.
Yeah.
Right? but you could be a coder with no money
Mm-hmm.
and with no audience like Mark Zuckerberg and end up at Facebook.
Yeah.
Right?
True. No, that's so true. And I think like the audience standpoint, what I'm excited about is just like,
It's a great asset to nurture and build.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's awesome what you guys are doing.
no, I, definitely.
You and I'm from Cleveland. It's just having that reach, that really relevant reach, people who are engaged.
Yeah.
It's so valuable, even if the money's not coming yet.
Yeah. No, like I said, I kind of, started doing contact with them just recently, but yeah, it was just like, hey, listen, like what you guys are doing is just like on par of like,
Amazing.
what my brand would like to be. And I think too, especially with that audience, I know I kind of talked about like, man, I would love to retire and do the hockey stuff, but when you have a reach of, how X of many followers, right?
It's amazing.
When you can really impact people's lives, and most importantly, when you walk into a room, people actually listen and
Right.
are interested in what
You're
you have to say.
I mean, you're known.
And I think it's the most important. That's so powerful.
very powerful.
To be able to hey, listen, City of Cleveland, I want to build an outdoor ice rink, that is year round, and we can put synthetic ice. Like a kid, who maybe is a real estate agent, I may not get that, but again, now I have 50,000 followers, right?
Like, you have clout.
They're like, all right, you said you wanted to do what? And then you go to a bank and you're like, hey, listen, I want to finance this. They're like, hey, listen, we love to be a part of this, because again, you have an audience following you, and I think it's one of those things where I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years, right? But am I going to be doing these videos? I have no idea. But what I'm excited for is the future, opportunity and the future, projects that I'm able to, work on. I would love to do something with Mr. Beast. Would absolutely love to, do something with him and
Hit him up.
I mean, yeah, well, and that's the thing too.
Yeah, hit him up.
And I think, I reach out to,
It never hurts to try.
What's-
That's my philosophy. Never hurts to try.
that, what's the worst that can happen? Somebody says no, and anybody who knows me knows that, yeah, I will. I mean, reached out to, whatever, the Browns, the Cat, the Monsters. I reached out to the Monsters. They got back to me and they said, hey, listen, we can, allow you to interview the players. So I interviewed the players,
Sweet, dude.
but being naive and not really understanding and kind of just going a million miles a minute, literally the microphone didn't work and I got no audio from those interviews. So, but again, it's a lesson learned, right? I literally, I never forget. I remember I was outside the stadium and I just did the interviews and I had no audio. And I'm like, all right, this is a turning point in your life. You're either gonna dwell on this, you know what I mean? And just be like, oh, poor me, I'm never gonna get this. Or you're just gonna absolutely just go out there and just try to kill it every single day. Check your audio. So that day I ordered 2 more mics.
Perfect.
I
Always
forget-
take a backup.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. So I ordered 2, it's just to make sure it didn't happen. Now I double check the audio every time so I don't have that issue. But it's just a lot of checks and balances. Again, that was probably going to be one of my biggest interviews that I've had so far. But again, it was a lesson learned.
More will come.
Exactly.
Like I hit up a bunch of major sports media outlets and said if you ever find yourself in Cleveland,
Yeah.
you could do a shoot at Whistle
Yeah.
because it'd be really cool to have the beer wall in the background.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Or if your employees just need somewhere to retreat to,
Yeah.
I'll shut down to the public.
Nice.
There's
Nice.
no harm in emailing ESPN for
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
they
100%.
park right behind our parking lot.
Nice.
So it's why not offer them? They're guests. They're guests in our city.
Exactly.
Why not offer them something convenient for them? Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I do some advising for companies.
Mhm.
One's a really big Bitcoin company. It's a roundup app called Coinbits.app. It's
Okay.
really cool. They have 30,000 signups, 10,000 active investors.
Nice.
And what it does is it rounds up your transactions and
Okay.
automatically invests it in Bitcoin.
That's awesome.
So
That's really cool.
I'm an advisor, and I know the founders really well, and they were like, we need a high power. Right when I was actually their lawyer for a minute.
Yeah.
I was doing some legal work for them, and I was like, they're like, we want a high-powered advisor on our board.
Yeah.
So I literally just got on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I messaged the guy that wrote the Bitcoin standard. His name is Seyfuddin Moose. It's been sold in 11 different languages, millions and millions of copies. He's the leading pioneer thought leader on Bitcoin.
Wow.
Doesn't like any other cryptos.
Yeah.
I just hit him up and said, hey, I'm working with this company. They love what you're doing.
Yeah.
They give out their book to employees, your book to employees. And he responded and said, I'd be interested.
Wow.
Now he's an advisor for Coinbits, and they just got this high-powered, globally known.
That's awesome.
And they're like, "How'd you do it?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"I messaged him on LinkedIn."
Yeah.
Why didn't you guys do
Yeah. Exactly. Right. Yeah. No. 100%. Right.
Just do it. Just go for it.
What's the worst? Okay, I always say what's the worst that happened?
What's
I'm
the
in
worst that can
same
happen?
position that I was before. I don't care. Again, hey, it's whatever, NFL player, NBA player, and like talk to them, right? Like it's just
Yeah,
like okay, they're you have to understand too, they're people
They're
themselves.
people too.
Right? Like worst case scenario, if you go up to them, with your phone and like, hey, like say a funny quote, right? Like they may be upset.
There's a Buffalo Bills player who came to Whistle twice. I don't even know his name. I think he's one of their cornerbacks, on the bench.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I work for the Bills. I'm like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
It didn't even get his name.
Yeah.
Didn't care to ask.
Yeah.
Like he just wanted to have beers.
Yeah.
With his
That's
boys.
awesome.
So they were in town for the Yankees game a few weeks ago, and then
Okay.
they were in town with the Knicks.
Nice.
They came to Whistle both times.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but it's like I don't badger the guy. I don't
Yeah.
try to get a photo with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like just let the dude do his thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in our city. Don't bombard him.
Yeah,
Couldn't even tell you his name.
Yeah.
It's like I don't.
Yeah. No, it's cool, but yeah, just go for it, right? Like
Yeah.
again, and that's when I first got started, I was
And don't care too much if something doesn't pan out.
exactly, yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't dwell on it. I mean, obviously, people have asked me for like not so much street interviews, but like, hey, man, you got a second for this? Like, nah, but I do that like kind of for a living, right? So and I don't dwell on it. Every no is just another way to get yes, and like, I again, the bigger goal for me, is way more important than somebody telling me no, hey, you're annoying, get away from me. Obviously nobody's really said that to me, but like I don't really get down where like, yeah, some people hear like 5 no's and it's like, all right, yeah, like this is it. Like I'm going out tonight and I'm gonna get some interviews and like and it's just it's motivating because once you get that one, it's like I can't explain it, but like once you get that one, it's like okay, it's
snowballs. That manifests itself.
It's easy to get the next one. It's easy, and you just want to keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And then once people see you're interviewing someone else,
exactly.
Like if you get on our LinkedIn
Uh-huh.
for Whistle, it's totally different than our Instagram. Our Instagram's like pregame party, this that.
Yeah.
You get on LinkedIn, it's like Sherwin-Williams held a fundraiser here.
Yeah.
Greater Cleveland Partnership held a fundraiser here.
Yeah.
Or had a networking event here. We have Deloitte coming up, one
That's
of the
awesome.
big 4 accounting firms.
Yeah.
They have a party. We have a nonprofit tomorrow.
That's awesome.
So it's tailoring to the audience. But then once we got one,
Yeah.
we posted it on LinkedIn, other people saw it. And then we posted another one.
Yeah.
So if you get on our LinkedIn page, it's just all big local corporations
That's
downtown that come. But now it's like we're getting 1 to 2 parties a week.
That's
we're
awesome.
booking. Yeah.
That's amazing
And
too.
it manifests itself.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And just, and I'll kind of wrap it up, but it's cool for your like branding, like your self brand, right? Like we all have our own brand, right? Whether we, know it or not, but your branding is, I think it's always cool to like, you're out, whatever, at a restaurant or something like that. Somebody wants to get to know you better. It's like, hey, come check out my place.
Yeah. It is a great spot for meetings.
And it's like your place. It's like, hey, it's, Whistling Keg. It's like, wait, what? Like that's, and it's just really cool.
I actually haven't said that to someone.
Really?
Usually they're like, hey, I want to see Whistle. Because
Okay,
they already know I own it.
Okay.
Yeah, I try not to pull that card out.
Yeah.
Unless like it comes down to it.
I'd be running with that every day. Yeah. Yeah, come check out my place, right?
I can't wait to do the rebrand. We're in a historical building, so
Okay.
we're dealing with the Historical Society of Cleveland to get approval on our new sign. But it's going to be called. I could tell you guys here. It's gonna be called,
is breaking? Is this
No,
gonna be, okay?
It's
all right.
if you look at our logo on Instagram, that's
Okay.
going to be the new logo.
Okay,
We're just
okay.
waiting for that sign outside.
I see.
So
Okay.
that's when we'll officially go from Whistling Keg to just Whistle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, and I appreciate you dropping in here.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell
absolutely.
everybody this is breaking news. You heard it here first. Is Whistle?
It would be Whistle. Yep. I have respect for the old name, but it's once I bought the business, I had to give it my own brand.
Nice.
And I don't want to change it too much, so we
Nice.
just went with Whistle.
No,
Yeah.
that's just like
And Will Alford did our. Do you know Will?
not off the top of my head.
He's like a really prominent graphic designer
Okay.
here in town. He did our logo. I mean,
Nice.
it's just we get so many compliments on it. It's
Yeah.
just so clean as a whistle.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, there you go. And I tell you what, man, you guys are so progressive with like just the marketing and the branding and like.
Thank you. That means a lot, man.
And-
That really
and-
means a lot.
And obviously I'm biased, right? Because like, quote unquote, this like, content creator, but like, I've said it before, and I think like, a lot of major brands are really going to start to see like people are consuming content in the same way. People are still consuming the same amount of content, but just in a different way, right? Just the ideas of, commercials, right? I mean, people are fast forwarding through them, right? The advertising, the billboards, right? Like I think, I'm not saying it's going to go away, right? I think that'll always be there, but like when you have a content creator who maybe has 50, 60, 100,000, followers in a specific niche like Cleveland or, whatever major metropolitan city, like it's so good to do the reels because it number one, it gets replayed. And also two, like, with the billboard, you get a finite amount of time, right? And then it's gone. versus like the reels, again, like who knows, right? Like Facebook, you know, it obviously can go away, but like as of right now, like it constantly get replayed, and there's nobody really knows the algorithm yet. So like that video could pop up, you know, a year from now and just catch traction just like that. And I think that's why we're in such a, you know, revolution. That's why I'm so excited, because I can't wait to hopefully start, you know, bringing recognition to Cleveland. That's kind of why I started a lot of this, but bringing recognition to Cleveland and bringing recognition to a lot of these small businesses.
I mean, look at like what Cleveland Vibes is doing.
Yeah.
Like they're like one of the best for bringing recognition directly to Cleveland businesses.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a brand awareness campaign with all the major accounts in Cleveland just because no one really knew the bar was there.
Yeah, yeah.
Started with Cleveland Vibes. We did Cleveland Girls. They're really highly engaged content. Cleveland Bucket List, and now I'm from Cleveland.
Yeah.
And it's just been like the power of influencers is it's actually unbelievable.
Hey, I didn't say it. I didn't even. I didn't.
It is what it is. I'm not patronizing. I'm not patronizing anyone.
No,
I mean,
I'm saying it like I've been trying to tell people, right? Like it's just
it's a hat tip.
It's yeah, man.
They're helping so many businesses.
Yeah, and that's it. You know, that's why I you know, again, I still definitely have to, you know, grow my following, but I'm excited to like, yeah, like, you know, I don't know if like, hey, this business is struggling, therefore like, boom, I do like a, you know, an event, and all of a sudden, you know, it takes them out of the, you know, the red, but like. That's what I'm excited for. That's why I moved back to Cleveland, because again, I'm so proud to be from Cleveland.
That's amazing.
You know,
So am I.
So proud to be from Cleveland and be here, and obviously, you know, with a negative, you know, connotation. I do have some followers, you know, because being in Las Vegas and, you know, being in the, you know, nightclub promotion aspect, you know, I have people from all over the country. So it's really cool, you know, that they were able to see that aspect of Cleveland too.
People come to Cleveland and they are shocked at what a great city is. And I always say, like, think about all the national organizations that have had an event here. Like, you had it started in 2016 with the Republican National Convention. That was more politically strategic than anything. But then the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, and like these major organizations aren't picking a crappy city. Cleveland is friendly, it's clean, it's easy to navigate, it's got a great food scene. There's so many walkable districts between East Fourth, Tremont, Ohio City, Gordon Square, Lakewood area. Like it's really special. I mean, I've had friends come from different states and they're like, is all of Cleveland like this? I'm like, a lot of it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No,
it's affordable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
Big time.
And the people in Cleveland, Northeast Ohio, I'm from Youngstown originally, where I was born and raised. Very similar story as Cleveland. Just was down and out for so many years. Yeah. People talk so much crap about it. Yeah. And then they're so pleasantly surprised at the people. And Cleveland's a small, big city. Yeah. Where I'm from is Youngstown's like a big, small town. So it's the mentality's a little different. Yeah. But it's just that Northeast Ohio grit. Like what LeBron said, nothing's given. No. You got to work your butt off. You got to work your butt off. And people in Cleveland are not afraid to do that.
Exactly.
I mean it.
Yeah, listen. Everything's earned. Nothing's given. Everything's earned, and
everything's earned.
And yeah, no, you listen. This was an amazing podcast. I'm glad, and hopefully you guys got value out of this. I mean, rewind it, save it, whatever you need to do, but really understand, you know, just the great nuggets that, you know, you shared and we talked about, because yeah, I mean, you know, the path to success, right? It there's no like, okay, I'm gonna start on this day. Like, start now. Right?
Start now,
like, you know, start now. And again, like whenever I do these, I get inspired. It's like, you know, that's really cool. What, you know, your first kind of how you started, it's like, hey, I see a problem and I want to fix it, you know, and, you know, I, you know, want to do that, you know, with some other business, you know, ventures of mine. So, but all right, well, I'm going to wrap it up here, and thank you very, very much for being a part of this.
Thanks for having me, man.
This is awesome. I'm glad you can make it. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, you know, and you know, please follow, you know, definitely follow them on Instagram. They have some really unique content. And
swing by Whistle.
Yeah, swing by.
Mention this podcast.
There you go.
For 10% off.
Wow, yay! You guys heard it here first.
Actually, 15. We'll give you the 20. We'll give you the employee discount.
Wow, 20.
We'll give you the employee discount, 20% off.
There we go. Hey, I appreciate that a lot. So, all right. Well, hey, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for making it this far, and
thanks, man.
Have a good one. Hey, thank you, man. That was awesome. That was really good. Really, really good.
That's great.